Hello, my name is Rachel, and today we're talking about task number 10 for the Read Harder challenge from Book Riot. So, this challenge, let's get right into it. Task number 10 is a translated book written by and or translated by a woman. So, when I could, I tried to get both written and translated by a woman. First off is Mouthful of Birds by Samantha Schweblin. This is translated by Megan McDowell. I believe this is just kind of an eerie collection of stories. Schweblin also wrote Fever Dream. That would work as well for this challenge because it was also translated by Megan McDowell. And I read that last year, and I really had no idea what was happening. But I'm really excited to try again and see what I think. So this one is definitely on the list to see what I think. She's supposed to be kind of like it's supposed to make you feel kind of creepy. And I will say, even though I didn't know what was happening, Fever Dream did make me feel very creepy. Next up is one that I heard about through Jimmy Fallon. He did the summer read-along book, and Tomi Adeyemi's Children of Blood and Bone was the one that won, but one of the options was The Good Son. This is by Yojin Jin. I apologize if I mispronounced that, and is translated by Chi Young Kim, both women. This is marketed as The Talented Mr. Ripley Meets the Bad Seed. This is supposed to be Korea's Stephen King, so I'm very interested in this one. And it will definitely work because it is both written and translated by a woman. Next up is I Remember You, A Ghost Story by Jursa Stigadottir and Philip Roten. Obviously, it's just written by a woman, but it is a translated work written by a woman, so this would count. I started this book, but I had to put it down because I had to get to other books, so I am very much excited to go back to this. This is set in Iceland, and I am super excited to get to it. It's supposed to be super creepy, and next up is The Diary of a Young Girl, obviously by Anne Frank, and I believe the translator B.M. Morat Doubleday is also a female. I think the B stands for Barbara, so that would lead me to believe she is also a woman, and obviously this is a translated work of Anne Frank, and since this is a diary, this would also work for task 1 if you're looking to double up. But yeah, this one should work. Next up is Persepolis. This is by Marjane Satrapi. This is translated by a man, but it is written by a woman, so this would work. And this is a graphic novel originally in Iranian, set in Iran. Next up is called The House of Spirits. This is by Isabel Elend, and it was translated by Magda Bogan, so this will definitely work. It is a magical realism historical fiction set in Chile. Next up is The Shadow of the Wind. This is by Carlos Ruiz Zafran, translated by a woman, Lucia Graves, so this will work. This is one that I have seen so many people talk about. It is set in Barcelona during the war, or just right after the war, maybe. And the series is called The Cemetery of the Books, I think. The Cemetery of the Forgotten Books. That's the word I was missing. The Cemetery of the Forgotten Books. So that right there sells me. I've heard amazing things, so this could be a fun one, and because it's translated by a woman, it definitely works. Next up is Inkheart. This is a young adult fantasy novel that I've seen a lot of people reading. This is by Cornelia Funk, and this is translated by Athena Bell, so written and translated by a female, so this one would work. So I have two by the same author, that is Kang, and the first is The Vegetarian. That one's translated by Deborah Smith, and then there is also her new book, Human Acts. This is also translated by Deborah Smith, so these both would work for this challenge, since it is both translated and written by a woman, and I believe both of these are relatively short too, so if you're looking for a shorter book. And last but not least is The Elegance of the Hedgehog by Muriel Bardsby, and Allison Anderson is the translator for this one. The only reason I know about this is because one of my friends has read this and really likes it, even mentioned it as possibly her favorite book. So I thought that was interesting. so I thought I'd go ahead and add it to the list. I believe this takes place in France. It's kind of a contemporary adult novel. So there you have it, a bunch of translated works, and I tried to get mostly women translating women, but there are a few different choices in there. So if you have any that you are planning to read, I'd love to hear about it down below. And thanks for tuning in this time. Next time, tomorrow, we'll talk about task number 11.